I wasn't going to say anything. I think there's one thing that, there's so much information. I'm not an expert in it. I don't pretend to be one. I am more than happy to answer questions that I know answers to. And I get the looks, I get my pictures posted on Facebook. I just want to be very transparent. At the end of the day, you know, we want to work with the township. We are willing to spend extra money to do things that are not required by the state. I am personally not a supporter of state siting. DTE did not push for state siting. We are developing projects in communities without state siting. And the information that we provided is because we do have a vested interest. We started working in this community with an ordinance that you guys had in place when we started signing land here. And we didn't know it was going to turn into this, and we don't like that it turns into this. And I know that everybody's can have a difference of opinion, I get that. One thing that I want to remind you guys here, and I think it's important for people in this room to hear, your current ordinance is workable. The draft ordinance that you're working on is not in place yet. Regardless of state siting, there's still part of the law that stays intact. And what that means is whatever ordinance you vote on, either side, if somebody doesn't like it, you know, if those who don't want it because they think it's too lenient, or those who don't want it because they think it's too stringent, or we won't be able to develop, the law is that they can put in a referendum. And if they put in a referendum, it will go to a May ballot vote. In that time, and I'm saying this because I'm being transparent, not because I'm trying to do a gotcha, because people can use this against us, but in that time, DTE could come in and submit an application under your old ordinance, because your old ordinance is technically in effect, okay? It's not like a township that had a restrictive ordinance first, because then it always reverts back to the ordinance you have in place now. So it would revert back unless you put in a moratorium. And you legally, can you put in another moratorium? Nobody's going to sue you for it. So if you want to put in another moratorium, you can, so that a developer can't put in an application between November and May. But if you put in a moratorium, then you don't have a CREO. There's so many logistics. I don't disagree with some of your comments, guys. I don't think a CREO is strong enough. We don't want to use the sound limits. We want to put in screening. We are in it for the long haul. We can't walk away from the project, so we want to do screening. We don't want you to have to put up your own fence. We want to provide you with screening so that you like to look at it or not. So all this to say, if you put in something, anybody in this room, any resident can get enough signatures. It's not a ton of signatures that they need. And if they get the signatures to put it on the ballot vote, then you go back to your old ordinance or a moratorium. So you guys are stuck between a rock and a hard place no matter what you do. You can't win in this situation. Nobody's winning in this situation. And so I just wanted to say that because that law didn't change. Like with the CREO and everything else, that law doesn't change. So that's still something that somebody can do that can throw another monkey wrench into all of this and make it even more difficult for you guys. At the end of the day, we are willing to work with you. We are willing to figure this out. I know that's not what other people in this room want to hear. I can't change that. I just want you to know that in terms of expenses to go to the state, it takes more time. They have a time limit they have to approve projects by. So there is timelines. They can't hold it out there. If we submit an application in November because you don't have a CREO, or you tell us to go to the MPSC, if you push us that direction, we do that. They have a time limit that they have to approve those applications then. The last thing I'll say, and I know I'm going on, but there is a lot of unknown, and it's going to be hard to find an expert, and you're right, and I appreciate you saying trying not to find a biased person, because you're going to have one group of attorneys that tell you you can do this and one group of attorneys that tell you you can't. A precedent has not been set, so that's the hard part too, because you don't know what the MPSC is going to do. So if we're going to build a project, we would like to work here, stay here, put in the screening, do better setbacks than what the state's going to do, give you better sound limits than what the state's going to do. And we don't want to go to the state, but of course we may have to go that direction if you tell us that we can't work with you.
Thank you.